Yes, there's the organ. It means one thing and one thing only. We have found an hour to spare to jabber about Chicago Blackhawks hockey here at the second balcony. It's your pal, Greg Boysen, and our Tampa streetcar enthusiast, resident Florida man, Frank Nova. How's it going, buddy?
It is going great. Listening to Al Melgard's music, I have to tell you, the Tampa Bay Lightning takes very good care of their organist. He sits up on a pedestal up in the 300 level. He's up on a pedestal so everybody can see him. And they have an overhead camera on him. So when he's playing during stoppages, they actually show the keyboard, show him playing. It's a 5-level keyboard. They definitely treasure the fact that they've got a first-class organist there. Before we get started, we're gonna have a fun game to play tonight.
Okay, I saw your Blue Sky message. It made me a little nervous. Not gonna lie.
Here's the fun game. When I was in Tampa for the game this past week, and we'll get into that a little bit more. I was there with my friend Bob and his lovely wife Lori. We both have wives named Lori, but he told me that I apparently start a lot of sentences with the word "it's funny." And today I happen to be on a phone call with my mother, and she does it too. So I'm mindful of it, but once I get rolling, I'm not going to be paying that much attention. So I do have a pen and paper here to try to keep count. Let's keep count of how many sentences I start with "it's funny."
All right, I've got a pad here too, and
we'll compare notes.
I'll sip my tasty non-alcoholic beer every time you do it.
If you ever come down to Disney World, I'll take you. There's a huge Coca-Cola store, and then in Epcot, there's a place called Club Cool, which is also run by Coca-Cola, and they have not just the regular Coke products that you know and love. They will have Coke products from around the world that you cannot get in the United States, except for in these locations. There is a soda that they don't even make it anymore, except to have at Disney World, called Beverly. And Beverly was originally an Italian soda, and it is Virgin Fizzy Malort.
Oh boy.
It's quality. I want to go in with a big gulp cup and just get a big gulp cup filled with Beverly and roll around Epcot. Although I have actually malorted people in Epcot.
I was gonna say you've got the real thing there. Like you don't.
Yeah, they sell it here.
Oh, it's everywhere now. It's not just a Chicago thing. They've the marketing that they've done over the past 12 to 15 years has been quite amazing.
Yep. Thanks in no small part to a friend of the program, Sam Meckling. Actually, I don't know if he's a friend of the program. He's a friend of ours, so I'm assuming.
Yeah.
If he knows we're doing this, maybe he'll listen. I don't know.
I believe, did I see it right? Because Facebook is weird. It only shows you people like once every 6 years. Did he just get married? I think I saw that.
It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it. So congratulations to our,
yes.
Yeah, easily the greatest man to ever come out of Perry Sound, Ontario.
I'm not going to fact check it, but I'll agree with you.
He is far ahead of Blackhawks legend Bobby Orr.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, revolutionizing the way defensemen play hockey, helping Malort become a household brand. I mean, it's opposite ends of the spectrum right there. I mean, you can't compare those two.
Yeah, I mean, if Orr hadn't done it, Pat Stapleton would have. So, but nobody else would have done for Malort what Sam did.
No. All right. So Blackhawks split their 2 games since the last time we chat, and you got to see them in person for the first time. A big win in Tampa. A game they probably didn't deserve to win, but they found a way to win. And
roll that game.
Yeah, and that's not the first time that's happened this season, and it won't be the last time that's happened this season. And you were actually there to witness history, the final game in a Blackhawks uniform for one Lukas Reichel, who was traded the following day while waiting in the drive-thru at Portillo's. Is there any more of a Chicago way to get traded?
Well, not only that, but somebody on Tampa took their rookie lap.
Yeah, it was former Blackhawks prospect Dominic James.
Right, Dominic James took his rookie lap.
So, I was waiting for him to score like 2 goals in that game, and everybody in the world get upset that he didn't sign with the Blackhawks.
Oh, no, the thing I was worried about was Kucherov finished the game with 999 career points.
Yeah.
I was like, first of all, don't get the 1,000 because it'll tie the game, and don't get the 1,000 because just don't get the 1,000 while I'm there.
He should have left that building with 1,002, to be honest with you. Yeah. He was so good that game. Spencer Knight robbed him at least twice. And
he was definitely feeling it.
Yeah. And it was his first game back after missing a couple, so he was fresh.
And the thing we were even joking with the people sitting around us that, I like this arena. You got those 3-foot wide goalposts. I don't know how many times, aside from the great saves Knight made, I think Tampa drew iron 4 times in that game.
Well, it just proves that it's better to be lucky than good when you're, the talent gap is as wide as it is between those 2 teams. Yeah, Tampa is not off to a great start, but it's still Tampa. They're still a very good team. They still have they're far more top heavy now than they used to be, but they'll figure it out. And, they still got the best coach in the game. For now, until Jeff Blashill gets that title.
They did have a nice tribute video for Jeff Blashill.
Yeah, which is, pretty cool. I mean, Tampa, you can say what you want about some of their preseason shenanigans and stuff like that, but they're a classy organization. They take care of people. And, Jeff Blashill and John Cooper are good friends still. And, Jeff's family still lives in Tampa, at least for this year. I think his daughter is a senior in high school, and they didn't want her to have to switch schools for her senior year, which is, hey, he can afford mortgages on 2 houses. It's okay.
Yeah.
He's getting taken care of.
Yeah, he's probably sitting there in a studio in Logan Square or something.
Most of the Hawks, they're right there in the West Loop somewhere. I think a lot of them live in the same building. I know Luke Richardson lived in the same building as Connor Bedard his rookie year. And based on some hints that Luke gave, I pinpointed which building it was, but I'm not going to share that.
No. I do remember when one of the times the Hawks won the cup and our current president had to tweet out that Patrick Kane was living in the Trump Tower, which wasn't a great secret, but still, dude.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
Yeah, like nobody of note wants their, especially nobody of note wants their home address tweeted out,
right?
Because the people who know, and if they wanted to bother them, they would have done it by then. And the people who didn't know, that, now we know where Patrick Kane lives.
Right. Let's just tell a rabid fan base where their most popular player lives, so they can all hang out and hope to get a glimpse.
Yeah, and were the Hawks were still doing Blackhawks TV back then, and they had some segment on Brad Richards and Kane and I commute every day because we live in the same building. It's like, everyone in Chicago knows where Kane lives. You just told everyone where you live.
Well, they must have good security over there where they don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Highly paid, qualified professionals. I mean, that's the only type of people he hires. So I'm sure they felt very safe. All right. Lukas Reichel traded on Friday, I believe it was. He was out shopping for a Halloween costume with Teuvo Teravainen and at a Spirit Halloween, and stopped off for an Italian beef and got traded to the Vancouver Canucks. Maybe stopping off at Portillo's every day is part of the reason he got traded. But
I can't speak to his conditioning.
No, I mean, listen, if he's eating Portillo's every day, it certainly doesn't show. But traded to Vancouver for a 4th-round pick in 2027, which was actually the 4th-round pick that was originally the Hawks. It was part of the
Mikheyev trade, right?
Part of the Mikheyev trade from last summer. They traded a 4th-round pick and Sam Lafferty to the Canucks for Ilya Mikheyev and a 2nd-round pick in this year. So when you do the fancy hockey math, the Blackhawks traded Lukas Reichel to the Canucks for Ilya Mikheyev and a 2nd-round pick. That's a win.
Yeah, I'd say so. And, he might still put it together. You never know. I mean, look how long it took for Nick Schmaltz. Yeah. And now Schmaltz is right now he's leading the NHL in points. I don't think that's sustainable. But he is a guy who's going to get you 20-ish goals and 60-ish points every year, which, if he could have done that with the Hawks, he'd still be here.
Right. I mean, it also helps that Nick Schmaltz also has Logan Cooley and Clayton Keller to pass the puck to. So
yeah,
it makes your job a little easier. Where Lukas Reichel, had his best success with Andreas Athanasiou and Philip Kurashev. A little bit of a difference there.
Yeah. I was actually wondering if the Sharks are going to try to get Reichel just to stick him with Kurashev and see what happened.
I mean, listen, he's only under contract for the rest of this year, so it might happen. The Sharks are still figuring it out.
The Sharks don't have much to lose right now. It's Macklin, Celebrini, and a bunch of dudes.
I mean, listen, they're only 6 NHL level defensemen away from contending, so they're almost there. I mean, yeah, they're fun to watch, but they don't win a lot of games because they're giving up 7 a night. But the Canucks seem determined to make Lukas Reichel their 2nd-line center. That's where he's played. He's already played 2 games with them. They played Saturday and Sunday, and he was at the 2nd-line center position. I mean, I don't know if that's going to work, but, I mean, good for him getting a top 6 shot. When you look at his stat lines, they were pretty much Lukas Reichel stat lines. 1 shot, 2 attempts, a giveaway, no points. I mean, he did get almost 17 minutes of playing time last night against Edmonton, and that's more than he even, I think if you combine all of his 5 games he played with the Hawks, maybe you get 17 minutes total.
And he's getting worked at the dot.
Yeah, and he did pretty good those 2 games, over 50%. So I hope it works out for him. I've always enjoyed Lukas Reichel. He's a good kid. I've known him since his days at Rockford when I was still covering AHL games, and always in a good mood when he dealt with the media. I know for times that could be a chore for some of these guys, depending on what's going on. But, he's a classy kid, a nice guy. So, easy to root for. I hope he figures it out in Vancouver or wherever he goes next. But he just needs to figure it out when it comes to getting smarter on the ice and seeing the ice better, because he's so good at getting through the neutral zone and zone entries, but he gets in the zone and then he doesn't know what to do. And half the time he skates himself into the corner and is trapped and just turns the puck over. So that's where he's got to get better, is knowing what to do, having a plan, know where to go and know what to do when you get there. Those are 2 things that he just never seemed to get.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. And in the meantime, the Hawks got to pick back. It's a 4, which, it's a 4 that's 2 drafts from now. I would guess that pick never gets made, at least not by Kyle Davidson. He's, as we've discussed previously, he's a guy who likes to bundle up picks and move up.
Yep.
So,
But you also got to remember you need your own picks to sign guys to offer sheets, so that's an option too.
yeah.
Those elusive offer sheets that every year they tell us are going to be weaponized.
This is the year.
Never
This
are.
is the year of the offer sheet.
Still waiting on it. We've had what, 2 in the last decade, and they were both last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish NHL teams did it more, and the way things are going with the lack of guys hitting free agency and the salary cap going up, you would think maybe you'd start to see it more. But it's kind of like that gentleman's agreement.
And with the cap going up, teams would just match anyway. But yeah, it's a gentleman's agreement, or if you want to be completely frank, it's probably a
you're Frank,
right? Well, no, I'm Tampa streetcar enthusiast.
Right. Okay. So yes,
the Tampa streetcar is amazing, by the way. It's like the best thing. We were staying. Just a quick sidebar here, and we'll get back to talking about soft collusion and all that. But in Tampa, they have a streetcar, and it runs from Ybor City, which is where our hotel was. We actually goes beyond Ybor City, but for our purposes, we were stop number 4, and it was right outside our hotel. We got on the streetcar. It took us right down to the barn, free of charge.
Nice.
And when you get, and one of the nice things about having hockey in a place like Tampa is they can do a lot more things outdoors at the rink. So you get down there, and every radio station had a tent up, and they were actually selling beer outside the arena. They had some special $1 beer thing where you could buy a beer for $1 and take it in.
Nice.
I was very disappointed. I thought there was a T-shirt giveaway, but I didn't see any T-shirts.
Oh, so you didn't get the Taint Nugget tour shirt?
I did not get the Taint Nugget shirt, which I was really disappointed with.
Bummer. Well, you mentioned Ybor City, and I only know of Ybor City from Hold Steady and Jason Isbell songs. That's all I know about that place.
It's a really nice part of Tampa. It's very old Cuban, so when you're there, you cannot get a bad cup of coffee, you cannot get a bad meal, and if you are so inclined, you can get hand-rolled cigars. Tampa's nickname of Cigar City basically comes from all of the cigar rollers in Ybor City.
Well, according to the Hold Steady, you can get a few other things down there too if you know the right people.
I'm sure you can. Well, just like actual Havana, because I've been there too. So, although I didn't do any dancing in Ybor City. I did dance in Havana.
There you go.
Yeah, and I missed it because I think last night or 2 nights ago they had Noche Latina, which sounds like it was just a huge party outside the arena before you went in. I was like, yeah, I would have been into that. That would have been cool.
We got to talk to them next year to make sure they schedule something more fun for the Hawks games, but they probably don't have to because they get a lot of transplants and snowbirds anyway. So they save the promotions for, when the Winnipeg Jets come to town or the Minnesota Wild.
There was no shortage of Great Lakes refugees. Well, there's no shortage of Great Lakes refugees in Central and Western Florida anyway, but when I was in the arena, there was definitely more red than blue. And there were more than a couple of times where you heard a very noticeable "Let's go Hawks." I mean,
yeah.
What made it worse is the fact that they do "Let's go Bolts." So you kind of had them drowning each other out. It's sort of like the national anthem scene in Casablanca.
Well, at least they get it right. So they're the old school fans, because every once in a while at the United Center, you start to hear people try to get a "Let's go Blackhawks" chant going, and it's like, no, that's not it. Hey, new guy, let someone else get it going. But I also think
maybe they just really like the Keys to the City song.
Maybe, but I think the Blackhawks should get a little.
Remember when they tried to make that happen?
I don't. When was that?
Yeah, this was early in the McDonough era. I think he got the guys from Ministry because they were Hawks fans.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Now I remember this. Yeah. Al Jorgensen was involved in that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That was awful.
And it starts off, "Let's go Blackhawks," and they did their song, and it sounded to me like when I heard it, my first thought was, okay, they're clearly setting this up to be the goal song for the Blackhawks. And I don't even remember how they stumbled upon Chelsea Dagger. I think they were originally just doing it for Havlat.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I know I had season tickets at that time, and there were times where it you know, they played Sharp Dressed Man when Patrick Sharp scored, and Johnny Be Good when Taves scored, and Rock You Like a Hurricane when Kane scored.
Kane. And I think everybody else got Chelsea Dagger. Well, they were of trying different things, but I think Havlat was Chelsea Dagger.
And then I remember Chelsea Dagger was in like an Amstel Light or a Heineken commercial. Yeah,
Amstel Light.
Right at that, before it was the Hawks song. Because I remember when they started playing, I was like, oh, that's that from that beer commercial.
Yeah, we even made jokes about it being the beer music. Play the beer music.
Yeah. Good times, those late aughts in the 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely Let's Go Hawks. I don't think I have to tell that to anybody listening to this show, but there are times where I'm in the press box and you can hear a Let's Go Blackhawks, and it just kind of makes me cringe. And it's like, I think the Blackhawks need to do a PSA video, like you're getting a lot of newer fans. So you need to have like Connor Bedard and Frank Nova up there explaining what the chants are and explaining the wait for the whistle. That would be fun too.
Well, they used to have that great wait for the whistle video with Jonathan
Taves. Yeah. They need to do that again.
Yeah, and it needs I don't know who on the Hawks would be menacing enough to do it.
They don't really have a menacing guy these days, do they?
No.
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe Tyler Bertuzzi can tell him he can wear his flannel shirt and woolly skull cap and tell him not to wait for the whistle. But that's something they need to do too, because they are attracting a lot of newer fans, and there's new fans are awesome. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
But there are certain rules, unwritten rules of hockey etiquette that need to be known, and there's no shame to them. They don't know. So I think they should do a Hawks PSA video about certain things. That's my soapbox for the day.
Okay, I have no issue with that. You got to fill the space during the TV timeouts with something.
Yeah.
So
or even they show a little PSA narrated by Doc Emmerich before the Hawks take the ice about what can get you ejected from the arena and the NHL's policy about code of conduct for fans, which so just add on to that.
Could you imagine a code of conduct at the stadium?
No. No. That was like the Wild West. It was like being in a saloon from a Clint Eastwood movie.
Oh yeah, and if you ever want to know just how saloon-like it could be, just walk out there with the Cicerelli sweater on and see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be wearing it as a hat as you get punched repeatedly.
Yeah, my red cape was always Basil McRae, but I know Dino was more hated than Basil McRae was.
Yeah, Blackhawks legend Basil McRae. I always forget that he spent a few games with the Hawks too. So yeah, but
Blackhawks
Dino's
legend, just like Wendell Clark.
Yep, all 11 games of the Wendell Clark era. Yeah, I always hated Dino Cicerelli much more than anybody else. And I never even got to see him get the newspaper in the morning. So, I had other reasons I didn't like him. But a few of you will get that reference. The rest of you will have to Google it. Speaking of the United Center, the Blackhawks lost a very frustrating game Sunday night to the Kings. Dominated first period. Great first period. They were all over them. They looked great. The Kings were coming in off of playing a overtime game the night before, and just like that Vancouver game last week in the same scenario, all of a sudden the second period they start giving up odd man rushes. I had on my notepad they gave up 5 odd man rushes in the first 4 minutes of the second period, and they scored on a couple of them. And then the Kings just turned into the 1995 New Jersey Devils and shut down the neutral zone, took away the Blackhawks' speed, and that was all she wrote. And the Blackhawks' power play was pathetic last night.
It was really bad.
It was bad. They had 5 chances. The first 4 generated 1 shot on goal. They couldn't even get the puck in the damn zone.
Mind you, not 1 shot per power play.
No, 1 shot on 4 power plays. The first unit couldn't even get the puck in the zone. And then the most frustrating one of the night was the one they got with 3 minutes to go. And then about halfway through, they pull the goalie. So it's 6-on-4. And twice, the Blackhawks dump the puck in on a 6-on-4 advantage, and nobody goes and gets the puck.
A 6-on-4 against a team that can't ice the puck. There's no icing. So that's really bad. Because they just had to get the puck and fling it. They didn't have to care where, it wasn't like a regular dump and chase where they have to think about chipping the puck out, and you don't want to take an icing because you don't want the face off in your zone and all that. No, they didn't have that issue. So they could just flip the puck down the ice and, hell with it. But the bottom line is when you have a 2-man advantage, you skate it in. You do not chip it in. And this is, we talked about it with Lukas Reichel in zone entries, and this is something the Hawks need to figure out who is going to carry that puck in. I mean, they got 7 defensemen, and the guy who would probably do it the best is sitting in Rockford right now, which is Kevin Krasinski, because Krasinski is really good at carrying the puck in, getting those zone entries. He's got 4 assists down in Rockford. We'll get to that in a minute. But, there's something with Rinzel, and I'm not quite sure how to put my finger on it, but it's like he's got the yips with the puck sometimes. Because last night, one of the Kings' goals happened because he got his pocket picked at his own blue.
Yeah.
You're Sam Rinzel. You have less than 20 games in the NHL. Don't be cute.
Don't think.
Yeah, don't think. Hurts the team.
Exactly. It only hurts the ball club. And Lev Shanov's had issues with that. And
he's actually getting better.
He is. I'm just saying with the thinking too much on the ice. He's had issues with that. But no, Lev Shanov has been progressing in the right direction over the past few games. But, just play instinctual. You do what you did to get to this level. Be that guy. You don't need to change anything just because you're in the NHL.
Right.
A hockey player that's out there thinking is a step behind, and that's how you get blown down the ice and give up a goal against. Just stop thinking and just read and react.
Basically, if you don't have a 99 on your back, don't think when you're on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. The power play was lousy last night, and every once in a while, I know I've watched enough hockey over the years to figure out what it should look like, what it shouldn't look like. And when it comes to the actual game, I like to think I know what I'm talking about. Now, my opinions may be awful. I've had plenty of bad opinions over the years. I've been wrong a lot, and I'll be wrong again, and I own it. But I know what it should look like. And last night on the CHGO post-game show with my buddy Jay Sawatsky, we were talking about the power play, and I'd said, well, here's something they could do is you put Andrei Burakovsky on the top power play unit for Teuvo Teravainen, because Andrei Burakovsky is the best player on this team at zone entries. He just goes. He gets the puck in. He's smooth.
Yep.
He knows what to do. Put him on that top unit. Then you get the puck in the zone. And that's half the battle right there. Get the practice today. And what did Jeff Blashill do? He must have been listening last night, because he had Andrei Burakovsky on the top unit and moved Teuvo down. And I'm sitting there going, you know what? It's nice to be validated every once in a while. I know what I'm talking about, but every once in a while, I love it when the head coach says, hey, Greg, that's a good idea. Let's try it out.
All right, so I'll be taking applications for a new podcast partner once Greg becomes an assistant coach.
I don't want that job. I don't want it.
After Micah gets the Sabres job after this year.
I don't want it because I only have one suit and I don't want to buy anymore. They won't let me wear my Roosevelts behind the bench, so I don't want it.
Yeah, you never know. You might start something.
So yeah, it's got to be better. And I think Burakovsky should help them at least get, because once the Hawks in that first unit get in and set up, they've been pretty good. It's just getting to that point that's been a problem. So hopefully Burakovsky gets them in the zone and then they could settle it down. As far as
the thing Burakovsky can do that Teravainen can't do too is Burakovsky can go to the net better than Teravainen does. Teravainen's a perimeter player. Burakovsky will get inside a little bit more. Which
you'll definitely need, if Tyler Bertuzzi and Ilya Mikheyev are both out again tomorrow, which it sounds like is a possibility. Neither of them practiced today. And, we saw last night in the third period about having both of those guys out, how that changes the DNA of this team, because those are the best two guys when it comes to forechecking. Those are the guys, when you dump the puck in, those are the two guys who are going to get it more times than not. And then when you dump the puck in and neither of those guys are there, it doesn't look the same.
So Sam Lafferty, you get the dress.
It'd be nice. I feel bad for him every time I see him in the press box, just sitting there looking miserable, wondering when he's ever going to get out there.
He's when he was with the Blackhawks before, he was one of those lunch bucket guys that you always kind of cheer for. And I was even thinking, well, if they're going to call somebody up, who's it going to be? And I don't think they want to rush more.
Not if it's only going to be for a game or two. There's no reason.
If it's going to be for a game or two, I would think maybe Joey Anderson.
Yeah, Joey Anderson or Dominic Tominato is a good guess. A good a guy that you can get in, plug on the fourth line for 8 minutes. He's not going to kill you, and you'll be fine.
Right. And, hope that those two guys get healthy because they've got that long road trip coming up.
It doesn't sound like either one of them are going to be out very long, but, I trust Blashill with this a little more just because he's very secretive with his lineups and his decisions. Like even today when he was talking about Burakovsky, he was like, yeah, we wanted to look at it today. We're not necessarily going to use it in the game, but we just wanted to look at it. He flat out told us after the preseason, he's like, just so you guys know, I don't like to reveal my starting goaltenders or my lineups. He doesn't even write the lineup on the board in the locker room in morning skate. So I'll trust him a little better because back when Luke Richardson was here, if Luke Richardson told you a guy was day to day, you better call the florist and send some flowers because his funeral was coming in a couple of days.
Notify next of kin
because he was terrible at that. I think Luke was trying to be too nice. And there were times, there was the Connor Murphy a couple years ago where, he's going to be day to day. We didn't see him for 6 weeks. So we'll see. It doesn't sound too serious. But if neither of them go tomorrow, you definitely have to call somebody up for that road trip because you don't want to be stretched too thin.
The road trip can be fun because, for those of the Blackhawk fans of a certain age, it wasn't that long ago.
Well, it hasn't been that long, yeah.
Yeah, but the last 2 weeks in November used to be the circus trip. And you knew exactly, like every year Black Friday was an afternoon game in Anaheim. But you would have those 6 games, the Western Swing, 6 games, and the players themselves would talk about how that was when the team would kind of pull together. They would kind of, it wasn't like home games where after the game they kind of all go their separate ways. Here they're all on the bus together, they're in the hotel together, they're playing video games together, they're doing all these things together. And it's a good bonding experience.
Yeah.
So it can, and what'll happen too is depending on how they do on the road trip, you'll kind of get a feel for the cut of their jib. You'll know whether you've got a real team here or just somebody who can occasionally give someone a rough night at the office, but they're still not fully formed. And I don't think they are. I mean, they they are technically currently still in a wild card spot. I don't expect that to last.
No.
But they'll have some good nights. I mean, it would be nice to see them score more goals, just because if they had the one outlier in St. Louis, but otherwise they've not been a big goal scoring team.
And that's really not unexpected either. I mean, it's been a problem with them for a while.
Yeah.
At some point, Connor Bedard needs to start potting a few more.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting a little tired of saying it's coming. He's shooting more. He's hitting posts. He's hitting the top shoulder of the goal. Like, some point, you got to start putting him in. Maybe last night's goal against the Kings, it's kind of just a little fun redirect as he's skating by the front of that. Maybe a goal like that is what opens the floodgates.
That was a Patrick Sharp goal.
Yeah. That was a good one. So hopefully that's something, get Bedard scoring goals, because for many reasons. I mean, you need him to start producing. And another thing I'm tired of is, like, hey, every night it's new wingers for him. Like, it's just, it's at some point they got to figure it out. They figured it out for Nazar pretty well. Him and Tavo have been really good, and I really like the combination with Ryan Donato. I think that's a great line with those three. Leave it, to just let it go. That's your second line, and I just wish they could figure that out for Bedard. They will. It's probably going to be a couple of guys who aren't here yet, and they're just waiting. But the sooner they can get him 2 regular line mates, the better.
Well, since we're talking about guys who aren't here yet, you want to crank some Hogs?
That was the segue. That was the point. I always want to crank some Hogs.
Let's crank some Hogs. We need to get a sponsor for cranking Hogs. Get like Hormel or something.
Is the Moo and Oink still a thing? Can we get them
No. Moo and Oink is not still a thing. Like Jones Good Ass Barbecue and Foot Massage. There you go. There's our sponsor. Crankin' Hogs, brought to you by Jones Good Ass Barbecue and Foot Massage. Look them up on YouTube. You won't be disappointed.
I like it.
Aiden Thompson went home, went back to Denver, and had a 2-point game last night. And I mentioned Joey Anderson. What I'm liking that Nightingale's doing down there is he's putting veterans and rookies together. He's not just sending out a line of rookies and saying, okay, here's the kid line. So you've got Cini with Moore and Nazar, and then you've got Anderson skating with Thompson. So the guys who are still wet behind the ears are getting experienced line mates to help them out. And Thompson's a guy who can be pretty serviceable, like on the 3rd or 4th line. He's, I haven't said it's funny yet tonight, but I feel like I've said, blue collar a bunch of times. And he's one of those guys. He's not going to come in and give you big offensive numbers, but he's one of those guys who can come in and, be part of a 4th line that can be a real headache for other teams. And you've got to have that. You can't just rely on your top 2 lines to do the scoring. Yeah,
I mean, he's got the speed, so he fits what the team wants to do. He's got that he has some skill, but he has that right mindset. Like he said throughout rookie camp, that one of the things he wants to do is that he knows that he has to try and get under people's skin out there and be that pest of a player. And he embraces that, which is good. Some guys have trouble adjusting their game when they get to the pro level. They want to be the superstar they were all through their life. Well, there's only top 6 spots on each team, and most guys aren't good enough to be there. So you have to figure out how to stick around in the NHL, and he's figured that out very early on in his AHL days, which is a good sign. I don't know what his, NHL career might look like. I don't know if he's going to have a long NHL career, but one thing I do know for sure, where if he can't cement himself in the NHL, Aiden Thompson definitely has a 12-year AHL career ahead of him, and that's still pretty damn good. He is definitely, if he can't, figure out how to stick in the NHL, he's definitely the next generation of, Cal O'Reilly or Jerry Mayhew or even a Brett Seney type, where it's like he's because his game fits the AHL perfectly. The way he plays, he's a very effective AHL player, and a lot of times those guys can't translate that to the NHL. Still super early for Thompson to make a declaration one way or the other, but I know at the very least he's going to be playing professional hockey for a long time. What level it is, it's up to him.
Yeah. And I could definitely see him, 6-7 years down the road, somewhere in the AHL with a C on his chest.
Yeah, for sure. That Garrett Mitchell type of player that goes and wins 2 Calder Cups with the Hershey Bears and gets a AHL MVP one day. Andrew Polarowski, those type of guys, those guys that just stick around forever. And then every once in a while, they'll get a game or two in the NHL. But I think the Blackhawks still have some fairly high hopes for him that he'll become that bottom 6 guy because they're going to need those guys, like you said, and they have a ton of guys, for every top line, dynamic player they've drafted. They've also got guys that can fill those bottom 6 roles too.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of, like you were saying, for every Anton Frondel, there's a Jack Pridham.
Yeah. And there's a Sammy Savoie, and unfortunately Paul Lewinsky blew out his knee and is out for the year, which is a shame because he looked pretty good. He had a couple points his first game. I talked to Ice Hogs general manager Mark Bernard at the last preseason game, and he told me that was a guy that we need to watch out for this year. He was expecting big things from him, so that was a tough luck for him. But even a guy like Gavin Hayes, I know he was a 2nd-round pick, but he's a guy that I think needs to learn, just like we were talking about, needs to learn how to maybe embrace the bottom 6, because I don't think the top 6 is ever going to happen for him at the NHL level. But
not with the guys the Hawks have in the pipeline.
Right. He's quickly gone from, hey, this kid could be something, and after 2 other drafts going, ooh, I don't know, man, it's going to be tough for him to make it, but he's got to figure out how to change his style and embrace whatever's asked of him to do.
Yeah, and we should also mention last night Moore got an empty netter and Lardis rather got an assist on it. So they're both still, I think Lardis is still on the top of the AHL leaderboard.
Yeah, he's got 9 points leading the Ice Hogs, 2 goals, 7 assists, which is funny. Yeah. It's fun that Lardis is becoming the assist man when he was the goal man, and it's Oliver Moore who said he needed help finishing plays, who leads the team with 5 goals and 7 points. So,
and that goes into what you were saying before about line mates for Bedard, where that could very well wind up being Bedard's line mates at some point this season. I mean,
could be.
I still believe that next year you'll see Frondel and Kinsella. Frondel is skating left wing. Is Frondel skating left or right? But Frondel and Kinsella, one's skating on. Yeah, Frondel's skating left and Kinsella skating right. So those just strike me as the guys who are going to kind of lock in on Bedard's line.
Yeah,
and they'll create a lot of damage.
Yeah, those are the guys that I think are penciled in by Kyle Davidson as like, I'm not going to go out and spend and bring in a Mitch Marner or try and get a Kaprizov here when I've got those guys coming.
Right, and that's the thing too is it would have been great. It would have been a lot of fun to have a Marner on the Blackhawks this year. But
absolutely.
But the everything is still not formed. Everything's not together yet. Like, our frame of reference is always the Stanley Cup teams because we're a Blackhawks podcast, and that's what we're going to talk about. And they went out and got Hossa when Hossa was the last piece.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go out and get Hossa and then build a team around Hossa. One other thing, I think we're done with Rockford for tonight. One other thing I did want to talk about was Arvid Soderblom last night and how, Drew Comezzo, he had a couple of games that were pretty tough, and then he pitched a shutout. And the thing that I like about Arvid Soderblom is he's a good backup goalie. He's a guy, because some goalies need to develop a rhythm. And going back to the first Cup team, Cristobal Huet went a month between starts at one point and just lost his rhythm completely. He was terrible after that. So, it wound up being that Ante Niemi got the net. And Comezzo's a guy you could send Knight out 3-4 games in a row and then give Comezzo a game, or pardon me, Soderblom a game, and he'll be fine. He won't hurt you. I mean, he gave up 2 goals last night, and I mean, the wraparound wasn't great, but he got kind of left hanging on the other one.
Yeah, and that first goal was debatable, but it's fine. Like if your backup goalie gives up 2 goals, you're in a good spot. You should win that game.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and not every goalie, you can't just take 2 good goalies unless you're going to do a pure tandem. You can't take 2 good goalies and say, okay, this one's starting, this one's backing up, because the guy who's backing up might not be a guy who can come in and, give you a good game every 5 games. Right. He might be a guy, if he takes more than a couple games off, he's out of rhythm, he's out of sync, just nothing works. I mean, as well as I do, practice isn't games isn't practice.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the tandems. The last team we really saw do that was the Bruins a couple of years ago with Olmark and Swayman, and it worked out great in the regular season. And then it got to the postseason, and Jim Montgomery was like, "I don't know which one to play." They're so used to playing every other day, but I can't pull a guy out after winning a playoff game, and then he got screwed, and it all fell apart.
And the interesting thing with the Blackhawks, remember when the Blackhawks had Crawford and Emery, they played completely different game. The team in front of them played completely differently. Yeah. Emery saw like 10 shots a game less than Crawford saw. It was ridiculous that year. But to my point, I mean, Comezzo, he's a starting goalie in Rockford. And if anything happens to either Knight or Soderblom, Comezzo's in Chicago. He's your guy. And then Brezhnev becomes your guy in Rockford. And, that's how you do goalie depth. That's how you do goalie depth in the NHL, kids.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to need it at some point.
Yeah.
Goalies have kind of become like running backs in the NFL. There's very few that are just like, you're the main guy, you're the star. We're going to jump on your back and you're going to lead us. Those days are over for both of those positions. Now it's like you have a 1A and a 1B and you ride the hot hand. And then when you get to the playoff time, you've got to have 2 goalies or else you might get yourself in trouble. I mean, Vegas needed 4, 5 to win the cup a couple of years ago. And they've already had goalie issues this year with guys getting hurt. So goaltending depth is huge. You can never have too many. It will play itself out. Like, I know some people get a little worried about Comezzo, like, oh, he's doing good in Rockford. There's no spot for him in Chicago. There will be if he presses the issue. They'll figure it out. These things have a way of working out. And if Drew Comezzo then becomes a trade chip to help you get something else you need, that's fine too. Like, Soderblom isn't going to take Spencer Knight's job anytime soon. But if you get to the point where
they did not just give Spencer Knight all that money so he could be replaced by Arvid Soderblom.
Right. Or necessarily Drew Comezzo, but stranger things have happened. And if Comezzo finally gets up here and plays great and earns more time, that's a good thing. You can never have too much goaltending.
Oh yeah.
And Adam Guyan is off to a really good start his sophomore year in at Minnesota Duluth. So that was another second round pick that they used on a goalie. So they've got plenty of stuff, plenty of good goaltending depth throughout the organization at each level.
Mm-hmm. Before we wrap up, I just have one thing. Somebody sent me a really good question on Blue Sky. Our good friend Greedy McDonuts on Blue Sky. He said, was looking at the stat sheet. Blashill is riding Bedard, Nazar, and Tavo to death. Many more minutes than anyone else. What's your take on how sustainable that is? And when can you expect Kyle from Chicago to start to shore up the team with more quality depth?
Well, I think those guys having higher minutes is a product of the 11 forwards. Because those guys are getting extra shifts. And I know, and Blashill's even said more than once, I played Connor too much last night. I have to do better at that. So he knows it.
And Connor doesn't want to come off the ice because that's how he's built.
Yeah. So that's, it's early in the season, so I think it's okay. If we're in December and January and Bedard's still averaging 22, 23 minutes a night, okay, that's then we can really start questioning what's going on here. But, it's a condensed schedule, so at some point you'd like to have it even out more. But this with the 7 defensemen is really working for them with this particular core. It makes perfect sense. So I think Blashill has to do a better job at, that extra shift every 4 shifts, maybe, divvying that out a little better, but that will come. As far as adding more depth, I mean, the depth is in the organization. It's just a matter of when they get here.
Yeah. I already said, we spent a couple minutes tonight talking about Thompson, who, I could see him maybe getting a little burn. A lot of it's going to come down to players getting injured or if there's a trade that Davidson can't pass up. But I also think that at about the 20 game mark, we can start keeping an eye on Moore and Lardis for coming up.
Yeah, I think
if they keep doing what they're doing, they're not going to want those guys staying down in Rockford.
No, I would think around Thanksgiving is when you can really start. If they're still producing at over a point per game, like Nazar last year.
Yeah.
They got him up here. I mean, it wasn't a coincidence that it happened right after the coaching change either.
Right.
But that's not a thing this year. I think both of those guys fit Blashill's system well.
Yeah.
And
especially
give you
if Lardis is
more.
going to be passing the puck the way he is.
Yeah, I mean, and it gives you 2 more speedsters to really make life difficult. So I would think, Thanksgiving-ish is when you can really start to see with it. And I knew last year with Nazar, the way he was playing, I was like, it's going to happen in early December.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have him here for the Winter Classic because they want to sell Frank Nazar Winter Classic jerseys. So
priorities.
It's always the top priority in any organization is making money. The Blackhawks have special jerseys this year that they may want to make sure that can get sold in the Nick Lardis, Oliver Moore, Kevin Korchinski versions, Anton Frondel, Cancer. There's a Centennial jersey, and there's another jersey that's rumored to be making an appearance before the end of this season.
I will tell you what, they should really stick with these Centennials for a while. They are really sharp. I love the gold trim on the numbers.
They look good on TV, but in person at the United Center, they don't pop. They don't look any different. It's a little disappointing.
That's funny because when I know I said that's funny, so that's one.
There's one. Hey, you made it 54 minutes with only one. I'm proud of you, buddy.
So we're at 1. I just made a note. when I was seeing people walking around with them I can't remember the name of the rink. It's not Amalie Arena anymore.
No, it's something Nation Bank Insurance Fraud Company. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Whatever it is.
Enron. It's Enron.
The Cow Palace down there in Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. But when I was seeing people walking around with them, like, wow, those look so much better up close than they do on TV.
They don't pop on the ice because the gold, you can't see it from a distance. And then the only other difference is the one Tomahawk C is replaced for the Centennial patch.
And
so
you got the laces.
Yeah, I mean they look great up close when you see them hanging in the locker room. You see the stuff that's on the inside and all the little things, but on TV in the arena, they don't do much for me. I thought the Rangers and the Red Wings did much better jobs with their Centennial jerseys because there's an actual like real noticeable difference. Where I think to a lot of casual fans or out of town fans, they see it and they don't even realize it's a different jersey.
I mean, the Red Wings went to flannel numbers. That is so cool.
Yeah. As much as I do not like the Detroit Red Wings, I respect the hell out of them. I just don't like them. Those are incredible jerseys. When I saw those, I was like, man, the Blackhawks kind of dropped the ball there. They should have done better.
Yeah. My first favorite non-Blackhawks player was Gordie Howe. So I always have that little spot for the Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean, I hated them growing up. Once they got out of the Western Conference, the hatred died down because it's hard to hate a team that you only play twice a week or twice a year. And it just, I think it had a lot more to do with the fans than the team itself, because back in the early 2000s, and the Hawks would play the Red Wings 2-3 times at the United Center to be the only 3 sellouts of the year because, half of Downers Grove drove in. All the Michigan transplants living in Naperville and Downers Grove drove in for the game. And that's all you had to hear is all about how good we are, blah, 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 blah. You're nothing till you beat the Red Wings. And then they beat their ass right to the Eastern Conference. And you don't get as much as that anymore. But I, one of my favorite players as a kid, and it pained me, but it was Sergei Fedorov.
Oh,
that guy was, you talk about guys who revolutionized the way the game is played. I mean, he was 20 years ahead of his time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I loved watching Sergei Fedorov play. I just hated the jersey he wore for most of his career.
Yeah. And the Red Wings are finally doing the right thing and retiring his number.
Yeah. Long overdue.
That's good to see. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I think we got everything covered that we wanted to talk about this week, right?
We talked about everything. We cranked Hogs. We're good to go.
Cranked our Hogs,
We get Charlie the Bacon Guy to sponsor Cranking Hogs.
I'll talk to him. We'll see what we got. We need to make this a thing. We get some hats or shirts made up.
Hey, it can't be any worse than Screw City.
Yeah, well, I'd say there's history behind that, but there's also a history with the two of us and cranking the Hogs. So,
Let me tell you, there's more hog crankers than Screw City people, especially listening to us. Subscribe, damn it!
Yes, put down your hog and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button.
Your hog. We don't care.
Yeah, that's fine. It's your computer. It's your computer. As long as you're not in a public library, it's okay.
This is a judgment-free zone.
Absolutely. We will not kink shame here at the Second Balcony. You just be you. But while you're being you, hit the subscribe button, the like button, follow, 5-star reviews, share, tell your friends, all that stuff. If you know someone who likes hog cranking, say, hey, I got a podcast for you.
That's right.
All right. That's going to wrap up.
We're moderately safe for work.
Yeah. For sure. The audio version, especially. You don't want these two ugly mugs on your computer at work.
No. Basically, we got Silent Bob and Uncle Fester here.
Yeah. That's a pretty good visual. So that's going to wrap it up this week. We'll leave you on that one. Be safe over the Halloween week. Don't go
and
silly.
enjoy the November 1st walk of shame.
Absolutely.
Best walk of shame of the year.
Thanks for hanging out with us in the second balcony. We'll get back at some point in the next few days. We'll let you know. But if you hit subscribe, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
See you
YouTube
next
will
time.
tell you. All right.